So in this video, I am going to show you how I added on these new collars onto these fuzzy jackets. So here is what a normal jacket with the collar looks like, and you can see where I am pointing at. That is how much I would like to take off this jacket. I suggest seam ripping the zipper from the jacket. It'll make taking off and then adding on the new collar a lot easier, and then adding the zipper back on a lot easier as well. So there are two ways I went about this. I completely seam ripped off the original collar, or you could just lay out your jacket like in this photo and just cut off 2 or 3 inches of the original collar, and then you can see that the collar and the jacket, they're still intact, but now you're just going to go over that with the serger to secure down the little fibers in the fabric so it doesn't fray. And because I'm an idiot, I don't have the original footage of me taking off the collar or showing you how I cut the collar fabric. Because I don't have the original footage of me measuring out the collar fabric to the fuzzy jacket, I'm just going to use this other jacket I have to demonstrate what I did. So you can see I'm laying out the cheetah print fabric. Where I am pointing at with the pair of scissors, this is where I'm going to cut the fabric. So this cheetah print fabric, once you cut it, all the little fibers start to shed really easily. So it was a lot easier for me to go in with one side of the collar pinning it and then serging that side. And because this fabric is really slippery and it doesn't like to stay in place, so sewing down one side of the collar to the jacket helped secure it, keeping it in place. So when I went in and folded the collar over to sew all 3 of the layers in, it just made it a lot easier. So once you have the collar serged down to the jacket, this is what it should look like. If you're looking at the back of the jacket, you can see how seamless everything looks. So this next half of the video, I'm going to show you specifically the purple fuzzy jacket with the cheetah print collar. I'm just basically going into more detail on how I did the collar. I'm just missing out how I cut out the fabric and all the specific measurements, but I thought I would just go into more detail with this jacket. So you want to make kind of like a long rectangle shape. So whatever size you are going to cut the fabric, just keep in mind that fabric is going to be folded over and serged onto the collar. You can see here that only one side of the collar is serged down to the jacket. I did this because this fabric moves a lot when you're sewing with it, so it was a lot easier for me to do one side of the collar and have that secured down to the jacket, and then when it comes time to fold over the collar fabric and serge the pieces together, the fabric isn't going to move as much in the serger. This type of fuzzy fabric is also prone to shed, so that's why I went over it at least 2 times once the 2 ends of the collars are on the jacket to secure the little fibers. So on the gray jacket, you can see I have some excess collar fabric, so I'm just going to take one of these cutting rulers and just cut off that excess fabric. So the end of the collar that you just cut, I also recommend serging it, just so the fabric doesn't fray and come undone. Now I am just figuring out how long I want my zipper to be, and I want my zipper to reach the top of the collar, so I think I'm just going to cut it where the purple fabric and the white cheetah print fabric meet. So now you want to get a lighter because the fabric part of the zipper has plastic in it, so you can burn it and melt it to keep the zipper from fraying. You just want to burn right on the very top just to secure it. To extra secure the fabric of the zipper, I hand sewn around the parts that I burned, and then I also hand sewn around the teeth of the zipper just to make sure that when you pull up the zipper, that little plastic part isn't going to come flying off. And then you can see on the other side of the zipper, I went in with the lavender fabric so you can kind of see what I did. And now you want to do your best lining up the zipper to the edge of the jacket, and you want to go in with a straight stitch and just sew everything down. And here are the settings to my sewing machine. I set my tension at a 3. The width doesn't matter, only for a zigzag. And my stitch length was at a 4. So when I pull the zipper all the way up, you can see it's a little fucked up. It doesn't perfectly align the two collars, but that's okay, I really don't care. As long as the fabric isn't gonna fray or come undone or anything, that's all that matters to me. But overall, it looks really good. So for this gray fuzzy jacket, I wanted to try something different with how the collar ends. Instead of keeping the sharp rectangle angle, I went in for more of a little dip down angle. And then you can see with my scissor, I am measuring out where I want my zipper to end. And these little serger tails, you just want to take your quilting needle and just stuff them in between the little serger threads. Now, just like the purple fuzzy jacket, I went in and I hand sewn around the parts of the zipper where they are most likely to fray. And so you can see this jacket, the zipper and the collars, they meet a lot better. Maybe with the purple jacket, I cut off too much of the zipper, or maybe when I was cutting off the original collar, I took off a little bit more fabric than I needed to. I did something wrong with the purple one, but this gray one looks really good. Here is another gray one that I did maybe like 2 years ago. As you can see, the edge of the collars, I kind of tucked them into the collar, if that makes sense. So I did this jacket way before I had a serger, so I had to use the straight stitch to attach the collar to the jacket. That's why it's a little uneven and maybe a little bulky in some areas. But overall, it still looks good. But I definitely do recommend using the serger if you're going to attach a collar onto a jacket, and especially if it's this fuzzy type of fabric.